Hi, my name is Ratna Dhian Noventy.
And I am Dian Ayu Puspitasari.
Singapore is so small, people told me to only spend one day there.
Singapore has a total land area of 724.2 square kilometers. There are several ethnicities in Singapore, include Chinese, Malays, Indians, and other minority groups. Singapore is a republic with a parliamentary system of government based on the Westminster model with three spirit branches. First, the legislature, which comprises the president as head of the state and the parliament. Second, the executive, which comprises cabinet minister and office holders and is led by the prime minister. Third, the judiciary, which comprises the Supreme Court and State Court, and the head of the judiciary is the Chief Justice.
So small state act like small state. In spite of such geographic limitation and heterogeneous population, Singapore with its parliamentary system of government has become one of the most developed city-states. On the political front, the country remarkable economic success, racial harmony, and political stability achieved during the past decades. It is caused by bureaucratic reform in Singapore. But what is the major reason factor behind the reform in Singapore? The major internal factors shaping the contemporary change in public governance in Singapore include the emergence of a more educated and informed population, the recognition of rising public concern for greater participation, the understanding of adverse outcomes from economic intervention, and a government objective to make the country a major center for international market, especially in the realm of finance and information. There is also certain external pressure for reform in favor of non-intervention and greater market competition in major sectors. Singapore highly dependent of foreign investor and market, and has to comply with global economic trends favoring market force rather than state agencies.
Again, I wanna ask, should small states act like small states? Because of major recent factors, in early 1980, Singapore government introduced significant reform which aims for the improvement of the public sector's capability to deliver high-quality services and more default financial management.
Singapore's public finance management nowadays is characterized by credibility of the budget. The balanced privatization and establishment of the statutory board was characterized by a fair privatization based on the principle of the developmental state. Meritocratic reform was introduced in the public sector in the early 1960s. The meritocratic reform in the public sector was successful also because the government understood that an employee-centered personnel management philosophy was necessary for the civil service to attract, motivate, and retain the best and the brightest in Singapore. Anti-corruption reform could be considered as one of the most important reforms carried out by the government. The government more powers of enforcement taking into account three pillars. First, effective anti-corruption acts. Second, effective anti-corruption agency. Third, effective government administration plus effective adjudication.
After carrying out such significant reform for so long, how is the result? Let's check it out. When compared to other ASEAN countries, Singapore has the best government effectiveness from 2016 to 2019. Furthermore, in the 2019, Singapore became the first position on the CGC Government Competitiveness Global Survey held in non-OECD countries. Then, the second position on the World Bank Doing Business Survey, and the first position Transparency International's Corruption Perception Index.
In a world of uncertainty and change, current achievements of Singapore are majority for future survival. What is challenge for reform in Singapore?
Technology can be bold, pricing and management models can be learned, but the overall package of governance instruments will be harder to come by. A specific charismatic leader such as Lee Kuan Yew cannot be cloned and particular historical condition cannot be replicated.
No amount of careful planning can assure a government of continual relevance and effectiveness if there is no capacity for learning, innovation and change in the face of ever new challenge in a volatile and unpredictable global environment. How is the effort of Singapore to respond to this challenge? Creating and sustaining dynamism in governance is a strategic long-term effort. The potential payoffs are substantial, but there are no shortcuts. Institutional culture and organizational capabilities cannot be built overnight. Able people, agile processes, and adaptable policies have to be systematically and cumulatively developed over an extended period of time. Creating a dynamic governance system and the adaptable organization require deep thinking, open dialogue, leadership commitment, and effective execution. We identified 3 dynamic organizational capabilities based on our studies of Singapore experience: thinking ahead, thinking again, and thinking across. These dynamic capabilities represent the key elements of Singapore governance system over its 42 years of development. In the recent interview, Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong said that Singapore's success may attribute to a willingness to work hard, make change and adapt to the world as it is, and not as we wished it to be.
Learning from Singapore. Successful change is not a one-time project, but a continuous process of learning, experimenting, innovating, and improving to remain relevant in a fast-changing global environment. Change is always messy and risky. Dynamism is ultimately about new ideas, fresh perceptions, continual upgrading, quick actions, flexible adaptation, and creative innovations. It is an exciting journey. We cannot change the past and we cannot determine the future. We can only hope to be better prepared to face the future by starting the dynamic journey of change today.